So we're back in the cell, as you can probably tell. I know this feels like a hostage situation, and it may well turn into that.
Oh my gosh, please send help.
Or indeed, just a white painted dungeon.
Yeah, so many possibilities.
Now, before we start, well, as we are starting, I've got a history of getting people's names horribly wrong. So you just introduce yourself. You're Kaytlin?
Yes, Kaytlin Bailey.
Kaytlin Bailey. And I just love that. Sometimes when you go through the Fringe brochure, which is like 12 dead trees,
At least.
there are show titles that just pop. And a horror's eye view.
Yes. Thank you. That's high praise.
Now, I just learned, you see, it could have gone horribly wrong. You prefer to be called RP?
RP. Yes, for Ryan Patrick.
Ryan Patrick.
Yes.
You see, to me, RP means received pronunciation.
The Queen's English.
Exactly.
Or role play, also big in our business,
Yes.
So both you're almost insufferably glamorous on stage.
Oh my gosh, insufferably, okay.
And it's...
I can make my audiences suffer, that's for sure.
But in a good way?
I mean, you can let them tell you that. The sights, the smells, the sounds, everything. It's just like, gets them like away,
Okay, you slightly lost me at smell.
We're just all of your clothes, what I mean?
There obviously, but there's anyone who puts sex into anything at the Fringe, I would say 50-60% of the time it's a gimmick.
Okay.
It's especially a lot of female comics now, they go, oh look, I'm talking about Rudy's, aren't I, pushing the boundaries? No, you're not, because you probably just have vanilla sex in your own room for the whole of your life.
Not to hate. It can be great.
Yeah, if you're lucky. But there still is, because I worked for quite a few years in the porn industry. There's a stigma to do with sex work, as soon as it becomes professional. Right? As soon as you get too good at it.
Right. Well, as soon as you're profiting instead of somebody else. Right. Yeah.
And so, what made you bring? Is this like a mission? What do they call it in CSI? Mission-orientated comedy. So you trying to rehabilitate the image
of like sex work in general?
Yeah.
I mean, so much of it is just like, I've been a sex worker for 8 years now, so it's like what I know. Everyone says, write what you know, right?
Yeah.
So one thing I know is men, and sleeping with them. And, when trying to tell your story, it's just the truth, and it's what was the easiest thing for me to talk about. And, one of the things I always found, I don't have a problem telling people that I'm a sex worker, and most of the time people are like, oh, tell me about that. People lean in, they want to hear about it. And so it's like a demystifying bit of the subject in some ways. Sometimes it's just humanizing people, just being like, we're just, regular, everyone says it's the oldest profession and the most misunderstood profession, I think, in the world.
Yeah. Do they assume you're being hideously abused or forced into it? Especially with women in that profession.
Yes, that is a very old stigma. And there's been so much violence done in the name of protecting women, especially from their own choices. But of course, sex workers and the queer community have always been in this together, right? Sharing the same spaces, being thrown on the same fires, and fighting the same laws. Yeah.
And are you aware you're a sex worker?
Sure, yeah, so I'm a former sex worker, but I'm a full-time sex worker rights advocate. So for me, the comedy is actually the gimmick. I was a stand-up comic. Coming through the comedy. Yeah, absolutely. So I've been a stand-up comedian for 14 years now. Right. But I became a full-time sex worker rights advocate when this terrible law in the U.S. got passed. So that, yeah, false assessment, yes, absolutely, which affected
everyone.
Tell us about it.
Oh my goodness, well, do you want to?
Well, like in Canada, like about there was like Rentboy was a really big site that
Yes.
was sex workers, so got that taken down. It got like
That-
the personal sessions,
Yes.
like Craigslist taken down. It was all in the name of protecting children, but really it was just like this big kind of like anti-sex.
So where, when, I think we have all worked out definitely why you should go and see the show. Where and when?
Sure, so I am at the Quaker House.
Oh, say how
Yes.
inapt.
Yes, yeah, the Quakers have always been with
Okay.
okay. So much better than the Catholics. Yes, anyway. So,
Anyway,
yes,
I meant the Catholics.
so I'm going to be at the Quaker House every day for a full run at 1920.
Perfect.
And I'm at the Space UK at Nidri Street from August 2nd to the 24th at the 22:35 or 22:55, but just come at 22:30 and get a drink. And
Yeah,
hang out. And you'll be
yeah.
right there, honey. It's a glamorous late night show. You want to be there? Trust me.
I think you want to do both.
Yes.
Oh, that's it. It's a great job.
It's like you want to get both.
Maybe
Yeah.
not.
Yes.